Good afternoon. My name is Rafael Rego Caldas, and I'm here to defend my PhD. As part of the defense process, I will give a presentation entitled Internet of Medical Things, Liable Approaches to Deal with Operational, Clinical, and Financial Challenges. Here is the agenda of my presentation. Initially, I will introduce some important concepts concerning Internet of Things and Internet of Medical Things, IoT and IOMT respectively. Then I will talk about the motivation for research works in this topic and its relevance for our modern society. After pointing out the main challenges regarding operational, clinical, and financial matters, I will comment about the opportunities and possible solutions for each one of them. Finally, I will summarize the best practices to tackle the problems associated with IOMT, providing some future perspectives on the subject. Let's move to the introduction. Industry 4.0 is a key aspect for future manufacturing and industrial development. The second wave of the fourth industrial revolution should focus on advances in semantics, leading to the development of explainable artificial intelligence methods, and in blockchain, increasing the security and transparency of the processes. Rapid progress in the fields of quantum computing, micro nano electromechanical systems, communication, and internet are likely to achieve this in the very near future. These kinds of systems and sensors have become cheaper and cheaper, facilitating the availability in the market. Thus, Internet of Things has emerged as very prominent technologies that addresses and manages communication among several devices such as mobile phones, sensing nodes, industrial sensing, and actuating devices. Internet of Things is defined as a dynamic self-configuring network of physical and virtual things powered with interoperable communication protocols, media, and standards. Such things have identities and attributes, being capable of connecting to information such as internet, and can perform sensing, data processing, networking, and communication. Ranging from smart cities, from smart appliances to smart cities, IoT has also opened a new challenge in the healthcare domain, which is called the Internet of Medical Things. Internet of Things is not coming. It's already here, and I can prove it. Currently, 127 new devices are connected to the Internet every second. By 2025, it's expected that there will be 75 billion IoT devices in the world. In 2019, 29.66 billion IoT devices were active, and almost one-third of these devices are used in the healthcare industry. There is an estimation that the IoMT devices will save $300 billion in the near term. IoMT offers significant benefits for well-being of people by increasing the quality of healthcare services, thus the quality of life, and reducing medical expenses. As shown in this diagram, critical elements are wireless sensors, which can be used to remotely monitor the status of patients' health, and communication technologies to send the information to caregivers. The main step towards a smart healthcare ecosystem is to utilize the potential existing technologies in delivering the best services to users and making their lives better. For patients, healthcare professionals, researchers, and insurers, the IoMT is a vibrant force that enables a myriad of use cases. Thus, the 7 main ways the IoMT impacts healthcare are improved patient outcomes, enhancing the patient experience, improved disease and drug management, It enables the remote monitoring of chronic diseases, and moreover, it improves the diagnosis and treatments, decreasing the overall costs. Following, I'm going to talk about how the IoT has impacted different classes of the healthcare system. For health providers, IoT enhances clinical staff and equipment's efficiency by reducing human error. It ensures regulatory compliances when exchanging patient health data across systems, and it coordinates the productivity of healthcare professionals um, across clinical facilities. For manufacturers, IoT creates new digital feedback loops connecting their employees, facilities, products, and end customers. In this context, real-time data can help reducing costly downtime with predictive maintenance, improve sustainable practices by reducing waste and ensuring workers' safety, and contributing to improved product quality and quantity. For the pharmaceutical industry, IoT provides greater traceability for inventory along with the supply chain, reducing costly inventory spoilage, improving visibility into environmental conditions, and increasing the control against theft and counterfeiting. For end patients, IoT improves health outcomes with continuous patient monitoring, thus reducing the need for unnecessary readmissions, improving treatment success rates by providing continuous data to care professionals, and personalizing care based on each patient's needs. Concerning epidemiology and health expenses, health industry contributes hugely to the gross domestic product of developed countries. For example, 16.7 and 10% in the United States and United Kingdom, respectively. Health expenditure will outpace GDP growth over the next 15 years in developed countries. Health spending per capita will grow at an average annual rate of 2.7% per year until 2030 across the OECD countries. Global spending on health is expected to increase to $18.28 trillion worldwide by 2040, and more resources are expected to be spent on health uh, in the future with a projected 9% of GDP globally by 2040. The percentage of people aged 65 and over is expected to double by 2050. As our population grows and ages, increasing the cost of care, the healthcare system must find innovative ways to solve operational, clinical, and financial challenges. Such challenges were subdivided in these areas for didactical reasons. However, they are interconnected and could be included in more than one area. Among the challenges and opportunities, we have regulatory issues, data privacy, cybersecurity, connectivity, which can be both a challenge of both operational and financial matters, and interoperability, that is not only an operational issue but also clinical, as discussed ahead. Regarding regulation matters, some of the concerns are national and international compliances, regulatory oversight delays, and adaptation. About data privacy, collection and storage of patient health information is a very sensitive matter in medtech. Compliance with existing medical privacy laws, such as Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA in the United States, and the General Data Protection Regulation (GDPR) in the EU, heavily impacts medtech solutions. As the number of connected devices grows, cybersecurity risks increase. healthcare providers' networks are constantly under attack by ransomwares, hacks, and other threats, incapacitating medical networks, stealing and selling medical records. Regarding connectivity, today's wireless infrastructure can barely hold the capacity to accommodate the huge number of growing devices in use. The continuous transfer and exchange of data puts a strain on the network and battery life of devices. So, 5G connectivity can also support more sophisticated tracking sensors, but it is unlikely that 5G will be available other than in big cities in the near future. For, uh, Furthermore, remote areas will remain a challenge. Concerning interoperability, healthcare systems are extremely decentralized with many incompatible devices. Connected medical equipment introduce even more data sources, provided unextracted data. Even though there are open standards, they are not always implemented in the same way within and between organizations, impacting the chances of interoperability between them. Here are more challenges that can be considered: operational as scalability, and both operational and clinical, such as accessibility and analytics. Scalability, the massive information data sets produced in the IOMT are usually stored in a cloud infrastructure. The huge amount of data generated is often greater than what is actually needed for useful analysis. Therefore, only the most relevant data must be collected and stored, discarding duplicate and inaccurate data. Regarding accessibility, one of the key objectives of the IOMT is to keep the patient in continuous contact with their healthcare provider and to allow the provider to easily access and check patient-generated data. Once again, the access of such technologies is a huge challenge to remote and rural areas. About analytics, cloud technology is an important channel for computing big data. Mining, managing, and analyzing a vast array of data from IoT devices raised the need for developing advanced analytical to uncover hidden patterns and trends in information. Accurate, accurate and consistent data is key to avoid uh, incorrect conclusions. Together, these 8 challenges represent huge opportunities for professionals in cloud processing and AI assistance, as well as multidisciplinary engineering fields and experts, in order to reshape the reactive healthcare model into a preventive one. Moving to the operational challenges, among the regulatory challenges lies the fact that technology is moving at a faster pace than the healthcare system and the regulatory system. Unlike the consumer electronics market, the development of process of medtech products must be carefully documented, being traceable in the case of audits, adherent to international certification standards, and compliant with existing national and international regulations to ensure the safe delivery of their products. Additionally, slow and lengthy acceptance contribute to the challenge considering the pressure of delivery against the regulatory compliance. Regarding data privacy, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, warned that current IoT devices are severely vulnerable to exploitation of weak authentication and outdated technologies. The IOMT has been at the forefront of cyber attacks in recent years. Recent studies have shown that nearly 90% of healthcare organizations utilizing the IoT have reported at least one security breach. As no one-size-fits-all standardized platform to handle medical data exists, heterogeneous platforms are used together, which can end in a potential privacy nightmare. So, careful selection of patient health information to share among devices, proper anonymization practices, and end-to-end encrypted communications are key when handling medical data over the IoMT. In this context, blockchain has emerged as an interesting technology for providing decentralization of digital data repositories. It corresponds to distributed and shared database and records that have the function of creating a global index for all transactions that happen in a given market. Blockchain can play a significant role to facilitate anonymity, privacy protection of electronic health records, better end-to-end patient-doctor relationship, and profitable business goals. Given the possibilities, the usage of blockchain in IoMT can tackle diverse issues in different terms. In immediate term, the usage of key segments such as national health record management and digital identity verification. In mid-term, IoMT data exchange, clinical trials, and e-consultation are aimed. On the other hand, regulatory audit trials and universal health safety management could be harnessed by blockchain in the long term. Concerning cybersecurity, IoT devices can be more difficult to monitor and protect than other wireless devices, significantly increasing the risk of exposure. As no standard operating systems for medical products exist, most medical devices use easily compromised off-the-shelf softwares. Also, if the security software of a device isn't automatically updated, it can leave further vulnerabilities. Additionally, lack of knowledge or training on secure coding practices pressures on development teams to meet product deadlines are vulnerability contributors, as well as hard-coded passwords or credentials and lack of relevant patching. There are many reasons behind the lack of security in the IoT, facilitating the occurrence of cyber attacks. Healthcare manufacturers have rushed to embrace IoT without a profound understanding of its security risks. According to a survey, only 17% of device makers and 15% of medical staff are aware of the IoT security issues and take serious measures to prevent them. Intended longevity adds further complications as many of IoT devices are built to last from 10 to 20 years, and patching medical devices entails regulatory issues which changes over the years. On this matter, a study showed that about 35% of 370 organizations using IoMT have suffered at least one security breach in 2016. MedJack 2, an analysis report of malwares used to attack IoMT systems, showed how attacks can be successfully implemented in IoMT environments to steal medical data and instantiate ransomware attacks. In fact, about 45% of all ransomware attacks in 2017 were in the healthcare sector. For example, in 2018, attackers encrypted medical records in a hospital in Indiana, causing the hospital to pay $50,000 to restore the data. Disruption, another form of ransomware attacks, is the disruption of medical devices and services, which can lead to costly restorations, as happened in a hospital in California in 2016. In the largest ransomware attack on medical systems was reported in 2017 with more than 200,000 devices worldwide. Also, last week there was a ransomware attack in the University of Düsseldorf, there in Germany, when a woman was transferred to Wuppertal because of this problem, and she ended up passing away. In this context, IOMT security assessment frameworks stands up as a solution. IOMT SAF is a Python web application that allows users to assess the security of IOMT solutions based on their consumption scenario. And it's divided into two main modules, recommendation and assessment. The recommendation module is based on semantically enriched ontology that describes the IOMT components, security issues, and measures. The design ontology includes context-aware rules to support the reasoning that is necessary to build a recommendation system that enables users to better understand the IOMT security. This module identifies IOMT security threats and recommends security controls that are necessary to respond to all threats. The assessment module measures and ranks candidate IOMT solutions in terms of their degree of security. The hierarchical list of recommended attributes from the recommendation module is utilized here as an assessment criterion. Regarding communication connectivity, the communication channel or spectrum is an essential resource for communication, which is allocated to every kind of service, such as telephony, satellite technology, and military equipment, being all standardized by the IEEE. Similarly, IEEE 802.15.6 is the standard that addresses the physical as well medium access control spectrum, providing highly reliable communication in the IOMT. Moreover, this standard defines the several types of communications, such as narrowband, ultra-wideband, and human body communication, which has 3 levels of security and authentication and encryption. Here we have the spectrum bands in IEEE 802.15 in several countries. The allocated spectrum band are still sufficient for the current scenario as per the number of wireless connected devices. However, the number of wireless connected devices is increasing, tripling in 5 years. This means in the future that the available spectrum band will be insufficient, and this results in spectrum scarcity for the IOMT. The prominent solution in the literature that addresses the spectrum scarcity problem is dynamic spectrum access using cognitive radio, where the unlicensed cognitive users are permitted to communicate with the licensed primary users. CR is defined as a device which has 2 key properties that are cognition and reconfigurability. The cognition refers as the ability of a device to recognize the surrounding electromagnetic environment by using spectrum sensing, while reconfigurability is the ability to regulate its operating parameters, such as power, modulation scheme, and multiple access technique, considering the available surrounding environment. Therefore, it is worth it and essential to explore the concept of dynamic spectrum in the IOMT. In cognitive radio networks, the CU establishes communications on the PU channel in such a way that the PU communication remains unaffected by following a cognitive engine cycle, which comprises the following steps. spectrum sensing, spectral analysis and decision, spectrum accessing, and mobility. Initially, the CU performs spectrum sensing on the channels to detect the status of the channel that is either idle or free, or active or busy. Furthermore, the CU selects the most suitable idle channel for the communication and starts the data transmission uh, on that channel by using the appropriate spectrum access technique. The reappearance of the PU communication is an important phenomenon during the CU communication. And if it happens, the cognitive user needs to switch its communication to the other available channel, and this process is known as spectrum mobility. Thus, such approach is capable of adapting to different scenarios, presenting a high performance. Regarding interoperability, even though open standards such as HL7, DICOM, CMS, and FHIR are becoming widely adopted, they are not always implemented in the same way within and between organizations, impacting the chances of interoperability. Blockchain is also envisaged to integrate health data interoperability. In this context, artificial intelligence and machine learning, along with blockchain using IoT-based clouds, could provide user-specific health services or individualization of the health services. Often, solution builders struggle when growing their pilot solution into a globally scalable IoT solution, and that defines the scalability challenge. This process introduces significant complexity into the whole system architecture, requiring expertise across cloud and device security, DevOps, and compliance, and more. Therefore, only the most relevant data must be collected and stored, discarding duplicate and inaccurate data to maximize the quality and the consistency of the information that will be used for analytics. Considering the huge amount of data related to the scalability, adaptive approaches based on artificial intelligence and machine learning, along with statistical methods, have been proved as suitable methods to tackle this problem, given the high performance in analyzing the relevance of different types of data. Cloud storage solutions provide the perfect environment for such hoarding of data, but a careful design is required to guarantee efficient and redundant data filtering and processing, while minimizing the volume of stored data and complying with regulatory security and privacy requirements. Moving to the clinical challenges, regarding the clinical matters, we highlight the numerous applications. Here is a classification based on the environment and as being body-centric or not. Body-centric applications refer to healthcare systems or devices that generate physiological data by directly interacting with the human body. Some of the smart indoor monitoring solutions that are using new and innovative IoT ideas are sleep and heart rate monitoring, bioacoustic sensors and continuous activity monitoring, and IoT-enabled medical scanners. Advanced IoT protocols and communication standards enabled enhanced communication for outdoor healthcare services, such as heart rate during fitness, facial disorder detection, and outdoor health monitoring. Unlike body-centric applications, the object-centric ones are not directly related to the human body. However, object-centric applications refer to healthcare solutions and services that can be efficiently used to improve healthcare delivery. A key example of objective-centric applications is a hospital management system, including medical equipment tracking and maintenance and the electronic health record. IOMT can offer efficiency for outdoor emergency services such as smart ambulances and air medical services, resulting in better safety and potentially reducing the number of incidents. All these applications are very helpful for healthcare providers, but they also mean a huge amount of data and processes that consume more time and require more knowledge to handle such situations. To make the healthcare data more useful, the immediate approach is the combination of different types of healthcare data from different IoT devices efficiently. Therefore, interoperability among different IoT devices in terms of data transmission is a crucial concern here. For example, a disease diagnosis may not rely exclusively on the symptoms, but also on the demographic and hereditary information as well. Metadata, which is usually defined as data about data, can help us immensely to ensure interoperability in this scenario. More elaborately, metadata could be defined as the information required to contextualize and understand a given data element. In healthcare, it's vital to accumulate and analyze information from all possible angles to get a more accurate summary. Concerning accessibility, a performant cloud solution that aggregates and stores data from all medical devices and allows timely access for healthcare professionals, patients, and health insurance companies, and allows from everywhere in the world and always in a robust and secure fashion is of paramount importance. In this context, hospitals and clinics, a doctor can view a patient's lab or imaging results and latest vitals in real time on his mobile. And at home, remote monitoring systems allow patients suffering from serious diseases to avoid visiting the doctor frequently. Biosensors and wearable devices let them access their information through websites or smartphones. To enhance the understanding of healthcare data, optimizing the current workflow in healthcare sectors, efficient management in the inventory, and robust integration on different medical devices are required. IOMT can perform all of these in a very efficient and speedy way, as nowadays the healthcare providers can get a large amount of data from this IOMT transition. Therefore, to provide a better system to a patient, the critical question we should resolve is how can we turn this wealth of data into insightful information so that we can convert it to action in a real-time basis. Considering that accuracy concern is linked to the application of IOMT, this type of concern has suffered after more than 140 patients lost their lives in the US due to accidental mistakes related to medical robots, lack of accuracy, and diagnosis. This also resulted into having more than 1,400 patients being partially or permanently injured, where reports of malfunction revealed that more than 8,000 malfunctions have occurred within 13 years. Another example is the false diagnosis of some patients as having dementia or Alzheimer. These incidents indicate the lack of accuracy and precision being led by medical robots, along with the false diagnosis of patients and wrong medical prescriptions. In this context, good practice would be the standardization and validation of IoT devices, investments in research and development, aside from training and qualification of healthcare professionals. As a current example of clinical challenge, the entire world is affected by the novel coronavirus that caused the pandemic. It has been the fastest spreading infection virus, which is resulting in a new menace to public health globally. The quick monitoring of the viral infection is essential not only for healthcare professionals but also from a larger public health viewpoint to provide suitable patient isolation, avoiding disease spread. In this scenario, advanced computational researches on IoT, IoT, and artificial intelligence are examples of innovative technologies that can be applied to tackle major clinical problems associated with COVID-19. In this digital era, advanced the recent developments in IoT, in 5G telecommunication network, AI and deep learning techniques, big data analytics, and cloud computing and blockchain can provide long-term solutions to manage the COVID-19 pandemic. Thus, IoMT can provide solutions to challenges of detection, monitoring, contact tracing, and control of this disease, among others. Moving to the financial challenges, the number of wireless connected devices is increasing rapidly. As shown in this graph, the business is going to increase by $52.2 billion by 2022 from $14.9 billion in 2017, with the IoT market estimated to be worth $158.1 billion in 2022. Aside from all the costly adjustments necessary to provide reliable IoT devices mentioned throughout this presentation, future investments should also keep in mind people that live in poor areas and away from big cities who could benefit the most from such advances. IoT has emerged as conclusions. IoT has emerged as feasible solutions for many of the modern world problems and is changing our lives and the doctor-patient relationship in a way never imagined before. It brings many advantages such as real-time tracking, remote monitoring, prevention and control of many diseases. However, there are some challenges like managing data privacy and cybersecurity, providing equal accessibility for the entire population, aside from issues with interoperability and analytics that needed to be addressed. Thus, advances in artificial intelligence and explainable AI, deep learning, blockchain, internet, and communications play an enormous role on the breakthrough of such applications. As key trendings, disruptive technologies can improve the pulse of healthcare since they are changing ways of working across the whole IoT system. Big data, genomics, SHI, mobile applications, 3D printing, telemedicine, and pandemic detection and control, which couldn't be more relevant than right now. Advanced sensors and other technologies will continue to create new opportunities for medtech companies. I would like to thank the Institute for General Mechanics in Aachen, in the Professor Market, the CNPq who funded me, and the Computational Intelligence Research Group in Recife and the Professor Fernando Buarque as well. And thank you very much for your attention.